everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly cash or trash, where we look at the hot comics of this week and we make predictions sure to go wrong. So looks like we got a bunch of people in the chat already. Well, several people. GT Key rolling here tailgating. What is going on? Kingdom of Nerds slid in to the second spot ahead of my man Unruly. Slacking today, Unruly, slacking. Gordon is in the house. What is going on, Gordon? The Festival of Man commence. You might new to the channel, you'll quickly realize what he's talking about. But yes, that is quality. I like that. And yes, TJ, you're here now. I can start. I like it. Deep House, what is going on, my friend? How are you? Happy Monday to you. Old man Bob is in the house. Renamed the series Man. You know, the man. Cash or Man. So, you know. Batman 609 and 619, but I can never find them at a good price. I can totally get that. Deep House was the one that I guess I was trying to remember who suggested it the other night on the whatever report, and I thought it was maybe Gordon, but it must have been Deep House who suggested the good girl art background. So yes, Deep House for you. Couldn't remember who said it, but I knew somebody did, and I did a different artist, so there's only one book for each artist. But yes, there's GT Key back. Kevin, what is going on? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Mojo is in the house. What is going on, Mojo? Jay Carter, welcome, sir. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. So, anyone new to the channel, what are we doing here? Fritzies is in here. What's going on, Fritzies? So yeah, on Saturdays I put out the look back video where we look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago and we see how they performed in the market since they were hot. If you watch those videos, you know most of the time it's a lot of meh. It's a lot of you should have been patient. These books aren't going to necessarily hold value. This video is where we look at the hot comics of this past week or the last few days. The list just came out over the weekend, and we make predictions sure to go wrong for that 6 month video. We're doing this on, we've kind of just shifted to Monday nights. Tom's been really late getting his list out. Yesterday, actually, I could have done it yesterday afternoon. I had all this information. I was like, I'm just going to wait till Monday night. So we've kind of moved into the Monday night thing here. I don't know if we'll always do that, but Matthew, what's going on, my friend? But for the moment, we're on a Monday for sure. Mr. Randman, what is going on? Like a So, Wolves fan, what is going on? I'm glad you enjoyed the video. I appreciate that. That means a lot. So, all right. So, yeah. So, how do we do this? How do we make our predictions? So, let's go in here. And our categories, as always, are straight cash, homie, books we expect to continue to increase in value over the next 6 months or longer. Usually this is more of a longer term conversation than a 6 month conversation, but occasionally we do have a street cash book, even over the 6 month period. Worth it. Books that are priced about right. If you buy in, as we're talking about them at these values, they're going to be worth it. Books that are priced about right, but are probably you can do better if you're just patient. The I'll be backs. These are books that you're going to be able to get a better deal if you just get away from this news. It's not going to be a huge movement in value, but you can definitely do better if you're patient. It's a trap. These are books that are going to drop significantly in price, 30, 40, 50%, because they're just whatever news is pushing them at the moment is not going to be sustainable, and there's no reason to go after them in the current moment. Then we got our dumpster fires. These are books that are going to drop 60, 70, 80%. We usually have at least a couple of these every week because there's just no real value to these books most of the time. And yeah, whatever news is going on is just no chance it's going to sustain them. Occasionally we'll throw in a book that hits the list because of a lot of sales, but not really any kind of value movement. And it's still pretty cheap. And it's like, if you get it, whatever. Occasionally we'll throw in a Come On Man and a few other categories as well. So I got several comments here I'm going to have to catch up on while you guys were doing it. I am not putting that out there, GTK. The rarest of categories. What, myth? Let's see. Let me just laugh hysterically at whatever made the list. Can't breathe. I've come close a few times. So yeah, let's see. Now I can see Randy Moss again. There you go. All right, so let's dig into this list. I don't believe there's a straight cast. No, I don't believe I'm predicting a straight cast. Let's see. No, not really. All right, first up, we got. Let me add this to the thing. There we go. We got Cyberpunk 2077 Trauma Team #1. So this is obviously a comic based on a game that is supposedly been optioned with a movie. And the rumor is Keanu would be involved because Keanu was involved in the game, although there's no real anything solid to that. This book's going for $10 to $30 right now, 9.8 over 100. Outside of The Last of Us, which has done pretty well, and it actually has done sustained pretty well because it was super popular series, and we know we're getting more of it. Video game comics are notoriously for holding no value once something comes and goes, usually because the project isn't very good. It's part of it. And yeah, so these are just generally not very good bets. I would never, I get if you jumped in on The Last of Us early, that potentially paid off for you because that book went through the roof. But none of the others have really been able to do that, have really shown that. That's not a pattern I would count on. That's more of an outlier, it seems like. So my attitude to this is, I think this is a trap. I don't, there's no news about this actually going into production. It's just, so potentially we're a long ways away from this. And B, just not something I would definitely go after. Can't decide Cyberpunk is good or bad name. Yeah, that's good. That is also true. I mean, it could be. And if those guys get involved and this comes to fruition, but we're a long way from any of that happening, I would just be patient for the moment. And I bet you could find this better off. When's SBF involved in the game? I don't know who else is involved. This is not a game I've ever played. So I don't know what's going on with GTK. I think he's been hacked. I think GTK's been hacked. I think that does make a difference. If it's a better game and it turns into a better show, yeah, I think that does definitely make a difference. All right, next. Got a book Unruly will like. We got Star Slayer, #2, the first appearance of the Rocketeer. So we got more rumors. Supposedly there's been a movie and or a show reboot coming from Disney at some point. We got more news on that, which caused this to hit the list again. Rock copies were only 30 to 40, which seems pretty cheap for this. I would think the Rocketeer might rate a little higher than that, but I'm really going straight cash. But my expectation is, so this book isn't actually really that much higher than it just sits at, but it is a little bit up here with this news. They've been rumors about this for a couple of years now, and so far nothing's happened. I would put this strongly in the I'll be back. My expectation is it's going to go back to where it's been setting when any kind of news goes away until we actually get movement on a project. I would just be patient, look for lulls in news, and to get this book. Yeah. No, I was not really my rabbit. And I get it. So, yeah, particularly the Jennifer Connelly part of this comment. Yes. Also from that movie. I mean, yeah, she looks good in that movie. TJ's always fire. I mean, long term, this would be straight gas, but yeah, it's a good long term bet. But I would just be patient in terms of grabbing it right now. There you go. See, be patient. You can find this. It is a cool book to have in the collection. Next, we're moving into covers. We got American Psycho #1, the Randall Brunder 1 in 10 business card variant. I know this movie has a weird kind of cult following. This movie was fine. I don't know. I'm not necessarily, it was fine. I'm not a big fan of this movie, but that's okay. Some people love this movie. I get it, but I'm just eh. So they're making a comic based on the movie that's supposed to then go beyond. Raw copies for this, the business card variant, are going for 25 to 50. I think this is solidly, which is really, really, really good for 1 in 10. But these kind of movie kind of things that have cool covers, Source City tie-in stuff, generally don't hold very well. I have a hard time even with the little bit of cult following this one has, to seeing this one hold that kind of value. I would easily put this in the I'll be back borderline. I think it's a trap if you're buying it toward 50. If you're buying it toward 25, it's probably just an I'll be back. I think this ends up being a $15, $20 book, above ratio, which is good, but not, too high. Hey, Team Ohana, too high for a 1 in 10, in my opinion. Hey, Warlord, what is going on? Will Chan kind of wants this one. Oh, he got off the screen on me. It is a cool idea for a cover. I will give it that, but yeah. There was a sequel? I don't think I even knew there was a sequel. Was Bale? No, obviously not. But there was a sequel? I did not know there was a sequel. There you go. Didn't understand the ending. I don't know. The movie, it was fine. It didn't do much for me. Will Fan loved that movie, apparently. I know there are people that love that movie. I am not one of them, but he just is boring cover. See, of the two, I enjoy Fight Club way, way more than American Psycho, but that's me. All right. Yeah. Tom does that. So, well, hopefully you get them if you pre-order them for sure. And so you can flip them, make some money. Mila Kunis was in it. I have no memory of this. I have no. There was a musical. I don't even want to know. I have no memory of a sequel to that. It's okay. All right, next we got Transformers #1. The spoiler variant again, second week in a row. The 1 in 100 spoiler cover. We won't talk about what the spoiler is, although you can see it. Last week, this was $125 to $190. There was a $350 9.8 pre-sale. That's basically, I didn't find a new 9.8 sale that was any lower or it was any different. Raw copies now have settled kind of in the middle here of 150 to 175, so they've kind of tightened up. I stand by what I said last week. So the bottoms come up, the tops come down. Stand by what I said last week. I think this is a big old massive trap. There's a lot of buzz right now for Transformers, this new universe, all that kind of stuff. But I find a hard time believing this particular cover is going to hold up that well. Death of a character usually are not necessarily kind of covers and books that hold up all that well. I think this is way overpriced at the moment. I think this is a trap. I mean, if it's a 1 in 100 and it drops down to 100, which is pretty good for a 1 in 100, it's still a trap from where it is right now. So, there's I didn't know that either. So there you go. And then two and standalone. I don't think it was straight to two. Just oh my gosh, yeah, total ripoff. Oh man, Bob's sold. Shander was in. He's sold. There are like 100. Yeah, very limited potential here. Not a dumpster fire. I mean, you could talk me into it. It's got to go all the way down to basically a $75 book. It's got to go under $100. I think there's enough Transformers fans that at least in 6 months it stays above the $100 mark or around the $100 mark. But this could be one where I'm undershooting. But now maybe a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, it's a dumpster fire from what it is now. But I think 6 months, I don't think it backs up that much. But yeah. This is true. This always definitely, that's part of the reason death covers and death books never really hold up. They happen together. I can totally get that too. All right, next. We got a Miss Marvel variant edition. This is the second print. I was going to say number 2. Second print, 1 in 25 Art Adams, which is just a black and white of the Art Adams 1 in something of the first print. I forget which ratio it is on the first print, maybe 50. But this Art Adams second print, which is, I'm not a huge Art Adams fan. This one's fine. $120 to $150 for this? For this Art Adams, like normally the Art Adams covers that hold big value are the sexy lady covers, or the big boob, the big boob covers. I mean, that's really what they are. Let's be, yeah, speaking of death, that didn't take too long. No, I don't get the. It's a second print. It's a 1 in 25. It's going for $120 to $150. That is insane. You were wondering where my dumpster fire was coming. Like, I don't see any way this stays over $100. I don't. What? Like, especially when there's a color version. I don't get this one. This one. Somebody tell me why. What's going on here? Like I got this book before I knew what it was. Like, I pre-ordered this book, like not this version, but like, yes, he was dead for like a month. I don't get it. Yeah. Went him as a cooler cover. There you go. Hey, Broad Page, what's going on? Yeah, the reason I pre-ordered this book, if you're wondering, is because it was like classified or whatever. I was like, what the heck? So I just ordered a copy. That's where that happened. I had room that month. In my 15, I was like, I'll do the classified book. And it turned out to be this, which is what I thought it probably was. It was her return. And yeah. So, but anyway, I don't get this Art Adams cover. I mean, I think it's a good cover of her. I think I'd probably rather have the color version. Maybe the color version's even bigger ratio. I don't know, but that seems insane to me. Next, we got Batman and Robin, number 2, the Larix Lee 1 in 25. First appearance of Shush. I guess he sort of appears kind of in cameo in number 1. So this is sort of maybe her first full appearance. I don't know. So yeah, it's a play off of Hush. She's got the bandage wrap face. This is Shush. This 1 in 25 is only going for 25 to 40, which if it's just based on a cover, that's terrible. That's a trap all day because that's going to end up under ratio for sure because it's not even getting the double ratio. The fact that it's a ratio variant and the first appearance and it's still not getting the double ratio, not a good sign. I think though, I do think there's a better possibility it becomes an I'll be back instead of a trap, that it doesn't back up quite as far, that there's a little more sustainability here because it is the first appearance of a character. But I think I'm going to stick with what the rules say on where this value is. And I don't know that this, I mean, if this first appearance ends up mattering in some way, then I'll be wrong. But I think this is a trap. I think you're going to be able to get this. Yes. Too bad it's not foil. Oh, on the Miss Marvel thing, Low ordered and will be a ghost. I mean, I guess, but like, there's other Miss Marvel covers that are better that are kind of ghosts. That I don't know. We have color now. I don't know who she. I don't know. I have not been reading Batman and Robin. Actually, I guess I have issue 1 of Batman and Robin because I bought that for that White Rabbit cover. Speaking of good girl art. But so I guess I have that, but I wasn't planning on reading Batman and Robin right now. So they're running out of ideas. I mean, yeah, I don't care about Shush. There you go. It goes, doesn't mean people want it. This is true. Oh, okay. I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. I'm completely out on wrestling. So, yeah, if it's not Attitude Era to just post Attitude Era, anything just about 2010. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know a little bit, but there's a few things I've seen, but I don't watch regularly for a very long time. All right, next we got another Seb McKinnon 1 in 25 Poison Ivy variant. This is the Dungeons not Dungeons and Dragons. Magic the Gathering card artist that has been doing cover. He's done a few Poison Ivy covers now for DC. So this one of Harley and Ivy. Harley's face looks weird as. Is it just me? Does it look off? Like the shape of her head and her face? I realize she's like tilted back, but like I find her head that looks creepy. I don't know. It's only going for 30 to 45. Again, not even making double ratio, which means it's probably going to be under ratio, which means or ratio or under, which makes it also a trap by the 1 in 25 rules. But like, I really like his other Poison Ivy covers, but her head, there's something about the shape of her head that is throwing me and makes me look. Yes. I mean, I like Ivy and Harley, yes, but like, there's something about her head that's like throwing me off the face. I mean, I wouldn't argue that on the Ivy either. Yeah, hers is just not as dramatic to me as the Harley. Like, maybe it's because it looks flat, like it's completely flat. Like, yeah, it's just weird. I realize her nose is kind of hidden, but it looks like her face is completely flat. It's so, I don't know, it's creepy. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I like this other Ivy covers. I don't like this one. This one creeps me out. I'm going to move on. Next. We got Omega Man, number 3, first appearance of Lobo. Hey, a book that's only been on the list like 900 times. People wanting Lobo to be more than Lobo is. And we're back because Jason Momoa rumors are back. Plus, on the negative side, we had the passing of Keith Giffen this week. And so that also brought some attention to this book. So there's kind of a double whammy going on here. So yeah, raw copies are up to 70, which is not a huge jump from where they are. 9.8 are back up to 400. Again, not a huge jump from where they are, just regularly. We'll see if Momoa becomes Lobo. I mean, I think I could see it. I think it works. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a solid book. I would still put this under this book it's still down from some of the heights it's reached previously on spec. I think I would still slide this book in the I'll be back category. I don't know. This book has never been able to really sustain momentum and really change on a long-term basis, like really move the floor. Like it's been on these lists several times. The floor has never really moved. It always kind of just returns to what it is. So because of that, I have a hard time believing this is the time that the value of this book is going to finally like change for good. You know what I mean? And start going up and stay there. So yeah. Well, good luck with either of them at this point. Yeah. There are a bunch of these out there. True. Yeah, he's a very different kind of character than what we think of more traditionally as Lobo, which is more of this guy. This is Lobo number 1 from 1990, his first solo and a retelling of his origin or a redone origin. Raw copies on this are only going for $8, 9.8, 88. There's a lot of these out there too. This just slides into. This is barely going for enough value for me, and I just think whatever. If you get it for $10, yeah, whatever. We'll slide it into the I'll be back category, but yeah. I mean, I think this is very much more the Lobo that people are thinking about and interested in. Although this is still Keith Giffen. So there you go. But just from a design standpoint, I guess. There's the stuff. Yeah. Are you talking about the Omega Man or this one? I think you're talking about the Omega Man. Yeah, there's a bunch of these out there. I've never read much Lobo stuff, I'll be honest. I haven't read him a ton, but he definitely is a character I think that could have some potential if done properly. All right, next. So we was talking about 609 earlier. Batman 609, first appearance of Thomas Elliott Hush. Back on the list again because the rumors are back that Hush is going to appear in The Batman number 2, the second Batman movie coming out with the Robert Pattinson Batman. Raw copies 40 to 50, 9.8, 150 to 175 on this one. Again, not a huge jump from where this book has been setting, just a slight bump up. I would still slide this into the I'll be back, but it's going to kind of return back to where it generally sets. But, I don't think you're paying way overpriced, but I would still put this kind of in the I'll be back. Yeah, the Omega cover. If a Lobo movie is good, Omega will be a 1K book. You have plenty of time. Yeah. And I think it'd have to be, I don't think good is going to be enough to get. I think it's got to be great. I think it's got to be something that fundamentally changes the perception of the character with collectors. And which has happened a few times with some of the Marvel characters, but most of them have kind of returned to what they are. It's pretty rare even a movie fundamentally changes, but we'll see. Contact with Gold. I mean, this whole run, I reread this story arc and it's still really good. It's not as good as I remember it, but man, that Jim Lee art is freaking fantastic. Obviously, from this cover, you can tell. But yeah. I mean, Poison Ivy, there's a peach on this cover for sure. So nice. I wish that was me. I have a copy of this book that's probably a 9.8, but I've never sent it in. It's a potential on my list the next time I send stuff. We'll see. And hey, Sinner, I don't think I'd seen you in the chat yet, or I hadn't registered it. So hello. All right. Contract that was pretty. We're still talking Lobo stories. There you go. All right. We're going to keep moving. Treehouse of Horror number 1 is on the list because it's Halloween. What? I don't know. This is my whole, it's on the list. Okay. Whatever. You guys want to chase Treehouse of Horror number 1? Sure. Go for it. But I can tell you, seasonal books are seasonal. So $25 right now, 9.8500. Never buy a Christmas book at Christmas. Buy it in June. Never buy a Halloween book at Halloween. Buy it in March. Never buy a 4th of July book on the 4th of July. Just don't buy seasonal books. Seasonal time. Yeah. It's kind of like the Spidey 9/11 book. Every year at 9/11, it jumps up 30% in value, and then by the spring it's back down, and then it jumps right back up that next year in September. Don't buy seasonal books during the season. That's all I can tell you. Yes, that's a good example, Matthew. That's a good example. I was looking for one, and but it doesn't happen often. You are correct. Guardians of the Galaxy fundamentally changed the way people perceive those characters. But that is more rare than that's pretty rare. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my thinking too, but it seems like it'd be a very similar story arc. So, I have heard that some of these Simpson comics actually are pretty good, but I've never really read them. Yeah, don't buy Spider-Man 36 around 9/11. Never play Pokemon with a Banding Doc. Not over the next couple months. Not as we get into Christmas season. So there you go. Next, we got Bloodstone number 1. She is back on the list. First appearance of Elsa Bloodstone. This book is still way down from pre-Werewolf by Night release. Was that last year or 2 years ago that we got the black and white Werewolf by Night? It all runs together on me now. I don't remember. But they're re-releasing it in color, like they do the Technicolor that they do for old black and white movies. So, yeah, they're re-releasing, which I'm intrigued to see. I think I will prefer the black and white. I really enjoyed this special, by the way. I think I'll prefer the black and white to watch it, but I will have to give the color version, the Technicolor version, a try. I think it's kind of a fun way to re-release it around the holiday or whatever. But again, this is going to be sort of seasonal at this point. I don't know that we're going to get, until we get the Blade movie, we're not getting probably any of these characters again. And I don't know that we'll even get Elsa again in the MCU. I mean, I thought the actress was good. I thought her, and I enjoyed the Man Thing. I enjoyed the guy playing the Werewolf by Night. I forget which version that is now. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the show, but it was a one-off. These books crashed after it went away. I wouldn't say crash, but definitely dropped back significantly. And yeah, so this is a little bounce back, 50 to 200 raw, 9.8, 350 to 375. I would still put this in the I'll be back and wait till this show comes and goes again. Yeah, I thought she was great. I thought she was really good. Marcy knows no bounds. There you go. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of a beat, this for nobody. Yeah, I mean it came down some, but it didn't drop back to pre. She's going to be in the MCU levels. You were correct. I would love to see it. It's probably terrible, but I'd love to see it. So, I don't think so. I think it's just going to be color the whole way through. Jay, I think they just like all the black and white parts are now going to be in color. I don't know. I'm intrigued to watch it like that. I imagine that it's way better in the black and white. But we'll see. It is a Marvel book. Yeah. So, I mean, this is not even the version of the character that, like, it wasn't very long after this that they completely changed the character. Like, they introduced her like this and looking like this, and now she looks completely different. And it's basically all different character. Like, they completely changed the character. So, she's a redhead. It's a very different character now. Next, we got Nova #1. Speaking of a freaking yo-yo roller coaster book that is on this list, off this list, on this list, off this list for a decade? How long ago was the original Guardians? I mean, that's when we first started getting hyped for we're going to get Nova. We got the Nova Core, but we were going to get Nova, which I stand by. We'll never get Richard Rider. We're never going to get a character by that name in the MCU. They'll give us one of the other. They'll give us the Sam version. But like literally, this has been going on for a decade. This book, get this book, and yeah, it's back to a $20 to $200 book raw. So pretty wide range. Takes a pretty nice copy to go all the way to 200. 9.8, 1100 right now. Just come back later. Just look for deals. This book, I mean, it's like the Young Avengers book. It's, it's just like on the list, off the list, on the list, off the list, because hot, cold, just based on spec that's been going on now for like 10 years. It is not everyone's favorite. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that this is ever going to amount to anything at this point. I really don't, because I really don't think they'll use this version of Nova. I think you're going to get the Sam Alexander version. So next, speaking of weird books to put on a list, even Brian and what's his face were like this is dumb. Spidey #1. So this series went on for like 12 issues, and when they collected it in a trade, they called it Freshman Year because it was like a flashback to that period in his life. So this is the start of the story arc, the Freshman Year story arc. It's going for $3, and 9.8 went for $80. So it's whatever given the price of the $3, although I would say come back way later on that 9.8 for 80. I bet you get that thing around $50-$60. But because they're making an animated series called Freshman Year, sure, but I have the odds it's going to be anything like this story are slim to none. And even if it is, it won't matter long term for the value of this book. It just won't. So yeah, this is a strong, like, whatever. But yeah, just don't. Yeah, it's definitely come down. But I don't think you can get it. Oh, I like Spidey. I just wouldn't spec on this particular Spidey book. Hey, he remains. What's going on? We're almost done, but I'm glad you joined us for at least a few minutes. Next, Daredevil 183. So this is hitting the list because Born Again is terrible and they're starting over. I don't understand. I don't understand why we spec on things sometimes. We're specking on this because basically they've decided to scrap their entire plan for Born Again and start from scratch because it was so bad. So now we're specking again because we think they're still going to go down the Punisher road because they were doing that before. Okay, whatever. Huh? Old Man Bob's like, cash. We got the whole Miller run, mid-grade though, yeah. I mean, it is a classic Daredevil cover. Obviously, it's the first fight between these two characters, so it's got a little bit of value. Raw copies 40, 9.8, 275. But this still falls strictly in the, like, this is a story arc meeting thing. These are books that don't really hold a ton of value. These are books that don't. I mean, we've already seen this on the screen once. Do we really think seeing it again is going to cause it to fundamentally change the long-term value of the book? And the answer is no. It doesn't work that way. The thought of it being on the screen temporarily changes the value of these books. But it actually being on the screen doesn't long-term change. Like, the fact that it was on the screen doesn't change the value of these books long-term. It didn't change the value of the book long-term when it happened the first time. It's not going to change the value of the book long-term. There's no spec here. This is when the book is valuable. Like, it's just the way it works with the story arc stuff or meeting stuff. This right now is when this book is valuable. After it comes and goes again, it won't be. Well, it won't be. It won't be more valuable than it is right now. It'll be less valuable. Does he pay 20 to 40? I'd pay 20. But yeah. Yeah, that's the rumor. I don't know what the deal was. Who knows how much of the rumor is true, but in terms of what the content was. But yeah, it looks like they are definitely starting over. Yeah. I agree. All right, last. More Daredevil. Daredevil 254. First Typhoid Mary. I guess there's an actress everybody thinks she's going to be this. Still no confirmation here that that's who she's playing or if they're even going to go down the type. It would be nice to see them go down the Typhoid Mary line just because it wouldn't just be Kingpin, Punisher, Bullseye, Elektra again. Like, it would be a different character than we've seen. But again, I throw this strongly in the I'll be back thing. If nothing else, like particularly the long-term I'll be back thing, think of all the MCU villains that have appeared. Their books have spiked. And then usually the villain dies in the show or movie. And then those books drop like a rock. Now, many of them rebound eventually to where they should be, but post-show, post-movie, they drop like a stone. So, yeah. All right, that's it. That's the books. There was only 16 books this week. Your money's not teach went from Typhoid Mary. That I don't know. I would agree with that. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Thanks on ruling. Well, peace, my friend. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. It's already been a long week and it's only Monday, so I'm gonna call it an evening. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me and listen to me ramble and be wrong. So we'll see how wrong I am in 6 months. But yeah, I didn't have a single worth of a string of straight cast tonight. Mostly I'll be back. A few traps. One dumpster fire. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. The man knows of what he speaks. Did we? I don't remember. Was that in season 3? I never watched season 3. So, all right, later, gang. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks again. See ya.